am Randy Wardell. I have Wardell Publications, Wardell Products, which is just down there. And what I'm going to show you right here now is none of my stuff. However, this is my friend of mine for 38 years, who a wonderful engineer who's invented all of this wonderful glass grinder technology, and it is pretty amazing. Now, I'm here to show you today the one that's called the Grinder 2. This is the Grinder 2 here, and that's what's sitting in front of me here. I'm going to show you this first. We've got the Grinder, which is the Grinder 1, but the original grinder. It's a much bigger machine. I'm going to show you that at the end of my demonstration. So we want to show this one off because this is the newest product, and this is also the most accessible product, meaning it's the least expensive product. This particular machine, as you see it here right now, and I can pick it up because it doesn't have any water in it yet. That's the machine right there. As you can see, it's a good sized table. It has a 3/4 inch bit in it, and comes with all of the stuff that you see here. And the retail on it is $199, and you can get it. Shelf price is $169, and then they will ship it to you. I think shipping is extra, but I'm not sure how that works. But in any case, it's $169 is the show price. You can add all kinds of great accessories to it, and that's what I'm going to show you in a moment. And some of the other things that are some creative things that you can do with a grinder. I know that most of us use a grinder to fix our mistakes, to make sure that we can make our pieces the exact right shape to fit. And that is still the most important thing for a grinder. And that really is what this is built to do. But there are some creative things that you can do with a grinder that a lot of people don't think of. And I'm going to show you a few of those as well. But let's get to the meat and potatoes of how this thing works. So first of all, it's got this guard that comes with it, which is a pretty standard thing, and it flexes so that you can put your piece of glass through it this way. It has a really cool water delivery system that I want to show you before I put the water in it. So you can see the brush right here. Okay, so the brush, and I can pick it up here like this. So it's a little brush in a holder. You can see it like this. So the brush is on an angle, and the brush sits under the water. So it just sits under the water, and then capillary action. I like to say that word because it's a fun word. Capillary means that it actually pulls the water up through the bristles and delivers it to the grinder bit, as opposed to having a sponge in there that you have to keep on pushing to get water up to the sponge, because the sponge doesn't have capillary action, but the bristles do. So that's a really cool feature on this. And just as an aside, they sell this. It's called the, I forget what it's called. But anyway, Technoglass sells it. I think it's called the brush system. We should probably ask them. But in any case, you can buy this for any grinder. So if you already have a grinder and you'd like to put this brush system on it, you can do that. It fits. They have ones to fit all of the different grinders. But it comes with this one. So also thing that comes with this one, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get it on camera or not. Can't really read it. Right here it says water level. So that's how deep you want the water to be, so that it will then pick it up, the brush will be able to pick it up. So what I'm going to do, the other thing I want to show you is this. This is the quick fit bit. And the reason it's called a quick fit bit is because you pop it up like that. You can see what I did there? So that's down. You pop it up, and the bit comes right off. You don't have to have a Allen key and all that sort of thing to get it off. It pops up. Because it's plastic, it doesn't rust onto your shaft or get stuck under the shaft. So it's really a nice way to do that. And then you don't have to throw away the bit. You just, once it's all done, you just throw away the ring, which is the diamond ring. And actually you can get engaged with this diamond ring if you'd like. It fits right on. See if it won't fit on her finger. Never mind. But yes, you can get engaged with this diamond ring. It's cheaper than most diamond rings, believe it or not. So, you put it on this way. There's a little, if you look in the bottom of this, you can see that there's actually a flat piece. That flat piece goes over the flat piece of your grinder shaft. Just push it down, flip it down, and now it's on there. So that's a really cool feature. The other thing that is neat about this is that most bits, you know, when they wear out, you have to move the bit up and down on the shaft. You can still do that with this one too. But you can also take it off when the bottom half gets worn out. You take it off, turn it over, put it back on, and now you've got the second half of the grinder bit as well. So it's really a pretty nifty.
Good afternoon.
Here it comes.
Right now we have Randy Wardell up on the
he's
stage,
been here already.
Stained glass creations with the grinder too.
Sure. Now.
We currently have Randy Wardell up on the stage, demoing stained glass creations with the grinder too. Go check it out. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Late. All right, so I'm going to start my seminar over again. All right, so here we go. So we've had, now the bit is on there. We're going to place the table back on. You can see the table has these little things in it. I'll show you why that is. The way you fill this thing up with water is you place these are baffles that stop the water from sloshing. Why would the water slosh? And the answer is because here's how you go to your sink to get water in it, to clean it out. Fill it with water, put that back on so that those baffles stop the water from sloshing all over the place when you walk from your sink back to your grinder. And then it just gets back on like this. Another good reason to have a flip top grinder bit, because it's easier to take it off. You have to take the grinder bit off in order to pull that table off that way. So now we got it back on, it's all together ready to go, except we have to put our guard in place. So now we're going to add some water to it. And I can see where the line is by looking through there, so I'll just make sure that I get it to the right level. The other way you can know that you've got it to the right level, and if you buy one of these, where's Nate? I just saw Nate here a second ago. Oh, look, Aquaflow system, right? Yeah. Okay, the Aquaflow system is the name of the brush thing that I was telling you. And the Aquaflow system is something that you can adapt to any grinder, but it does come with this grinder. All right, and we have it at the right level now. So we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and try something here. So what's cool about this is, listen how loud it is. Close your ears. It's running right now. Can you hear it? Hello? See? It's that quiet. I can actually still talk. Now when I start grinding, it's going to get a little noisy, of course, because we're grinding glass with it. But what's so cool about it is I can push in pretty hard on this thing. And it will not, you can't stop it with the glass. Because this has a really heavy motor in it. In fact, this has the same motor in it as the Grinder 1 has in it. It's the same motor, the same horsepower. It's amazing horsepower on this thing. I'm not putting enough water in it here. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay. You see this? All right. So I'm telling you that you can do some creative things with it. So if you're doing fusing, one of the things that's kind of neat to do on your outside border piece is to grind pieces like this. Now what I would do is use a Sharpie with a ruler so that I can make sure that they're all spaced exactly the same. But all I'm going to do here is grind some notches like this. Let's get in there. Now, you see that? Maybe you can see it this way. So see my notches? So when you do this on the outside border of your fuse piece, and once those things melt down, that little point right there that's now flat will actually round off. So you're actually going to have this really cool edge. And you can do that so quickly this way. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit later, but right now I just want to point this out to you. You can put these little ones in, 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch bits fit in the top. There's a top of this shaft is tapped so that you can screw this right into the top of it. And when you do that, now you can make notches that were only 1/8 of an inch. Even smaller notches and more notches will give it really another interesting effect. So that's something that you can use a grinder for that's more than just fixing a mistake. But speaking of fixing mistakes, you saw how quickly I ground that off. This thing is really, has so much power, it's just, you can't stop it. So, I'm going to talk about fixing mistakes. Here's a really neat thing. How many times have you cut borders? I'm going to get this in the picture here. Where you have these little notches here. So you try to cut a border piece, a 1 inch piece, and you end up cutting it at 1 1/8 or 1 1/4 inches, and you go, shoot, I got to cut 1/8 of an inch off of that border, that whole 6 inch border. So you try to cut that border off, and what you end up with is these little things, right? These little points. Sometimes they're bigger points, sometimes they're smaller points, but you want to grind those off. But you also want to make sure that it's the same width. You want that piece to be parallel from this side to this side. especially if it's a big long one like that, or even longer. You want to make sure it's parallel. How am I going to do that? Never fear, Technoglass has come along with an idea. It's called the set. The set is an adjustable straight edge. So you loosen that off, and then it adjusts this way. Right? It fits into the holes. Now, if I try to fit it in like that, it won't go. If I try to fit it in like that, it won't go. There's only one way that it'll go, and that is if you have it exactly parallel to the blade, to the grinder bit. So now I put that in. What I always do is I set it up so that it is at the bottom adjustment. In other words, don't have it sticking out like that when you put it on. Make sure that it's at the bottom. Then you put it on somewhere that's pretty close to your piece. That means pretty close to the width of your piece. So you can see, oh, that's too close. So I just have to back it off a couple of notches. Oh, I'm too far away. But all I have to do is push up on this until it just touches. I can hear it just touching the grinder. So now you always grind from right to left because the grinder is spinning this way. You push it in this way, it's going to fly off the end when we get there. Plus you want to push it against the rotation. So I just move that out of the way, and we're just going to do this. And there you have it. It's completely parallel piece. That happens a lot. That's probably the biggest thing. Now, if you say, take a look at it, you know, the other thing you might be able to do, I don't know if you can see it on here or not, but there are little, this right here is a scale. And the scale is marked in, you know what the scale is marked in? Is it eighth of an inch? Eighth of an inch. So these are eight. So if you know that you take a look at your piece, you measure it with this ruler, and you say, oh, I need to take a 1/16 of an inch off on the whole thing. It's not going to fit in my piece because it's a 1/16 of an inch too big. Well, you can't cut a 1/16 of an inch off, but you can grind a 1/16 off. So let's take a look at that. So here's my piece right here. I put it in and I go, okay, I need to grind out the 1/16 of an inch. Tell me, cameraman, is that a 1/16 of an inch that I'm taking off from there into there?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he said it is. All right, so I'm going to see how long that takes me to grind out the 1/16 of an inch on this entire, took about a 7-inch long piece. So I can talk while I'm doing this, because I can do two things at once. Now it's taking a while because it's grinding off an awful lot of material here. And there we go. Totally parallel, right down to the size that I need it to be. That's a really nice thing that you can do with the set. Now, I already talked a little bit about the bigger grinder, but the bigger grinder has a set that works on it too. It's just that it has a longer fence so that it's the same size table. All right, so you got one of these. You picked it up at the show. It was $169. Is that delivered or is that shipping extra? $5. What? I'll take two. Who wants two? 6,900. That means for $175 you can take one of these home. That's not all. Because you don't like this little thing because it's not very good. You know what is really good? This one right here. This one fits into the same slot. Now what's cool about this is now when you're grinding, it slides right through anywhere that you go. But those little fingers keep it from splashing all over the place. So you don't need one of those cardboard boxes that you stick around this thing to keep from splashing the back. This is your cardboard box. And that is an accessory that you can get for $18. So that adds on to your $18. You get that right there, and you have a beautiful setup. You can do this in your kitchen table. The straight edge tool, you may ask, because it is $27.50. That's show price. What is it regular retail? Do we know? About $35? Somewhere else around $35 is regular retail. That's why you want to pick it up at the show. But what's neat is that you can go like this. So when you're grinding, a lot of times you need to spin it around. Well, if you have one of these that's rigid, you have to take it off. That's why you have one of those boxes back there. it's shed. But even if you have a box, sometimes the box gets in the way too. So that's what's so nice about this. So what I'm doing right now is I'm rounding off those notches that I made a little bit earlier to make it even a more interesting piece that you would make a nice border on your... Does the camera want to see it? Let's show it to YouTube too. Isn't that beautiful, YouTube?
That's gorgeous.
Thank you.
They're gonna love it.
They really are. All right, so we've got the new guard on here, but you know what? When I'm working on, oh, I forgot something. Shoot, I forgot to put the horseshoe on. Stainless steel horseshoe. Supposed to, if you were grinding smaller pieces, you would need to have the horseshoe for certain. I just forgot to put it on, and the camera guy didn't remind me.
I failed you.
What am I paying you for?
Failed all of you.
Come on. But I should have had it on, but it does, as you can see, it didn't work. But what did you say? What's the question?
Does that fit all grinders?
It fits around the bit.
Yeah, all grinders, all different.
Not all different grinders, because you have to have this tabletop. The tabletop.
I'm just wondering if the groove is the same as the tabletop.
No, it's different. It is a little bit different. So that bit, or the bit guard, which is the stainless steel piece, it only fits that tabletop. But you can also put a 1-inch bit on this, and you would buy the 1-inch. You have to get also the 1-inch guard, because it fits, as you can see, pretty tight around the bit. So you have to put that in. But what I was going to show you is, I end up working in the basement in the wintertime when it's dark, so I can't see my work. So I have a solution to that too, and it's called the Lumi shield. And all you do with that is you plug that sucker right into the back. There's a little slot that it goes down inside, just like that. There's a convenient hole in there that you plug it into, and look, let there be light.
Wow.
Switch on the front to turn it off and on. And it has the plastic shield here, so that when I'm looking down, I don't have to wear my glasses to protect my eyes. But I do have to wear my glasses so I can see what I'm working on. But the shield is still a very good thing to have. And it just pops right out like this if you need to take it out for whatever reason, to clean it off or whatever. So the shield fits in there. That's an accessory as well. The shield is $35, show price.
And what do you call that shield?
It's called, I believe it's called the Lumi shield.
Lumi shield. And what group?
Right over here, just the other side of the kiln place, the press kiln, right out next door to them. Lumi shield, yeah. Now again, this only fits on our grinders, right? Oh, and the reason is because you need to have the plug in the back. And none of the other grinders people have provided the plug in the back. We did. So it has the shield, the Lumi shield lights up. It's really nice, and it's a long light, as you can see. It's not just one little bulb. It's an LED strip. Gives you really good light, as you can see. Except now you can't see what I'm doing. So I'll fix that by taking the Lumi shield off. But I wanted you to see that the Lumi shield is really a handy thing to have, and it just pops right off like that, like that. Put it right there. Okay. So, do we have other accessories for this machine? Of course we do. The other accessory we have is right here, and it's called the Mini G. It's kind of like Mini Me, but it's a Mini G. And Mini G is shown here in the camera. So it's a surface as well. It's a smaller surface, as you can see. But what it allows me to do, I'm going to turn the machine off, what it allows me to do is to elevate the grinder so that I can put the little tip that I showed you before, that I'm going to show you how it works. So this is what happens. Take that off, pull off of this, like that. We also need to pull off this little dude, take him out of there. And then we place a little guard on top. Now what this guard does is stops water from going down and getting into your motor parts. So that's a shield that has to go on first, then you place this on. Just like that, it snaps into place. It's in place there now. Then this just simply screws into the top of the motor shield. It has already has what's the brush system called again? Aquaflow system is already built into this as well. It comes with the Aquaflow system, and that has the brushes as well that brush up against your bits. And as I said before, there's a 1/4 inch bit and an 1/8 inch bit. So what could we do with the 1/8 inch bit? We could do the same thing that I did over here with the 3/4 inch bit, except it would make a more delicate holder. And look how hard I'm pushing in on this pretty aggressively. And there it is now. I don't know if you can see this on the camera very well. You see those notches there? You can probably see them from out there. Looks like I bit it off with my teeth.
Did you add water to that?
Well, it had water in it already, yeah. But yes, you're right, we would add water to it. And there's also, you know, a little line to tell you how much. But basically, the way you know you have enough water in it is if it's actually, water is coming back on your glass as you're grinding. If you're grinding and you see white powder, this is true for any grinder, when you're grinding, if you see white powder, sort of a white sludge instead of that wet, and that means you don't have enough water being delivered to the bit. So if you're using the sponge system, which every other grinder has, unless you have been wise enough to have converted yours using the aquaflow system, but if you have the sponge one, that means you're going to have to prime the sponge a little bit, or maybe take a glass of water and dump it on that sponge to make sure that your sponge is wet. And then it should then turn from that white sludge back to being, you know, a nice clear color when you're pushing it in. But this is a really handy 1/4 inch bit. Is really handy, especially if you're doing stained glass, where you have some really tight little corners that you need to get into. It allows you to really get into some spots there. You can do some pretty amazing things with them. And as you can see, I'm pushing in pretty aggressively on this, and the motor isn't slowing down at all. So it really delivers a lot of power to what you need to do. I didn't bring it up with me here, but instead of this 1/4 inch bit, you can put an 1/8 inch bit. Now an 1/8 inch bit is very, very narrow. You can actually you can be cutting slots with it. So, you know, a slot might be something that you would never use in a stained glass project, but it is something you might use in a fusing project. So I showed you how I made these neat little scallops like that. So do you know what a Greek border is? That's those borders, it's like an L shape, okay? You could make those L shapes with the slot, and I've done this with the 1/8 inch slot. So you push it in a 1/4 of an inch, that leaves you 1/8 of an inch on the edge, 1/4 inch in, and then a 1/4 of an inch back. Gives you a little L key like that. You put a bunch of those in the border, and then when you fuse them, it opens up because it's going to shrink a little bit. The glass always shrinks when you fuse it. That 1/8 inch slot is going to turn into probably 3/16, you know, and 1/16 bigger than an 8, just to translate it for you. That's going to be a nice slot, and it's going to give you that Greek border, and people are just going to say, how did you do that? And you're not going to tell them. Now, you could do that with if you had a ring saw, to make those little slot borders too. So just another use for your ring saw.
Can I ask you,
Sure.
that's a 1/4 inch?
What is? That's the 1/4 inch one right there.
Have you ever taken the glass and put it on a block and take it?
Yes, you can do that.
Spin on that?
It'll work on that too. That's a good, she just brought up a really good point. Can I drill a hole with that 1/4 inch bit? Absolutely. So the way you do that is that you start it on a pretty strong angle. So I've done that now, and I put a pretty big indentation at that angle. See if I can get it back into that hole. I shouldn't have taken it out, but I was talking. Here we go. We're back in now. Now, the problem with that is that the bit doesn't deliver water up onto the top of that. So you have to keep on adding a little bit of water to it as you go along, because you don't want to dull it. So then you just get it back in there. So I'm just going to keep doing that on that angle until it drills through. Here it comes. See, it's a little hole there. So now I've got it drilled all the way through. So a lot of people will do it where they try to go all the way around like this, but then you're going all over the place. You just need to keep it on that same angle so you're all the way through, and then just let it go. There we go. Voila. We have a hole.
So you always do it at an angle. You can't go straight down.
Can't go straight down. Because if you try to go straight down, watch what's going to happen. I can't hold it. It takes a while to get it to hold it, and it's still not holding it. Feel it shaking on me there? That's not the way to do it. You can do it that way, but it's going to take you a lot longer, and you're not going to have as accurate a hole. So you just keep it on that angle. Just drill it on an angle, hold it on that angle until it pokes its way through. You'll just see a little edge come through. Once that little edge pokes through, now you can start to flatten it out.
That'll save me a lot of time.
Save you a lot of time. There you go. $20. No, you owe me $20. No, never mind.
You owe me $20. I showed you the tip.
Oh, now she wants me to pay her $20. Cameraman, what do you think of that?
I gotta stay out of this one.
Okay. All right, that was a good one. And you can drill a hole with the eighth inch bit too. It will be an 1/8 hole. I know that's weird, but it would be an 1/8 hole, but you do it exactly the same way. On a full angle until it starts to poke through. Then you slowly bring it back to level, and then it goes right through. But you do have to keep adding water to it, because although this bristle system really works great when you're coming in from the side, it doesn't deliver any water on the very top of the bit. Now it's going to take a lot of grinding without water to ruin that the diamond on the top of that, but it's always a good idea. I usually do it when I'm drilling through a 1/8 piece of glass like this. I'll probably add water to it, as you saw, like 3 times. So you know, add it just before you start, get it going, get a pretty good size notch in there. Take it off, add some water, back into the notch, let it go. Then when you see it come through, that's the 3rd time you add the water in. So I add about 3 times when I'm doing that. And actually, it's another unique thing. Putting a hole in the glass if you're doing fuse work is also a really cool design idea. So you could come up with a whole pattern that you might want to, create something. You could do a swoop. So you drill a hole every inch or so to create that swoop, and then you could fill that little hole. I don't know, glass tattoo glue? Sure. Did I do that good?
That was good. That was good.
With a different color, contrasting color, and then you'd end up with a really neat design in there. So another creative way to use a grinder, not just to grind your pieces to make them fit. So I wanted to show you one other thing about this grinder, which is really cool. Oh, I should have turned it off. It's so damn quiet, I didn't even know it was still running. Mike, you need to make this motor noisier. It's like a Tesla when it's coming down the road. You can't hear it. Nearly got killed by a Tesla. I'm just kidding. It was actually a dump truck. All right, so what I said, I wanted to show you one other cool thing that you can do with the grinder, rather a feature on the grinder. I'm going to show it to you on the bigger grinder. Move this stuff over here, because I can't really move this grinder now because it's full of water. So I'm going to move over here. I don't know if cameraman can follow me over here.
Where are we going?
Right over here.
Yeah. I'm pretty mobile.
He's mobile, look at that.
Yeah.
All right, I take it back. You're worth the money. So what I wanted to show you here on the grinder, so as you can see, it's quite a bit bigger than the grinder 2. It's also more money. The grinder is, regular retail is $425. Show price is $350, whereas this regular is $199. But this comes with everything. It comes with 2 bits, right? It comes with the 1 inch and the 3/4 inch bit. It comes with both of the grinder bit horseshoe guards. It's got the much bigger table. It comes with the Lumi shield. What's cool about the Lumi, oh, where'd it go? Look at that. It comes with the Lumi shield, but this one is neat because the Lumi shield doesn't have a cord coming out the back like this one does. Why? Because it's built into the bottom. So when you plug it in this way, it's already connected. Let me just use the cord here and I will show you. So it's got the switch right here for the Lumi shield.
Wait, there's
No connection.
So
Correct.
I could use that.
Well, there is a connection because it's got to have power, but the connection is built into the slot. So you don't have to plug it in the back. It's got its own built-in power right in the slot there. The other cool thing that this has, and so does the grinder too, has a built-in storage drawer. So you can keep extra. This one here has a space for 5 extra bits. It has the space to put your, because comes with 2 of these, one per 3/4, one per 1 inch. Fits into that spot there. It also comes with a little scraper, plastic scraper tool, so that when you take the table off to clean it, you can scrape it up with a plastic scraper rather than try to use one of those window scraper, the metal ones, which then damage the bottom of your table. So it comes with the scraper. It's got a little spot in there as well for the brush, for the extra brush that comes with it. So it's got all kinds of cool little features in there, and you can keep them all in one place. The grinder 2 has space for 3 grinder bits. And again, as I said, you can put a 1 inch on this one. That's an extra accessory. The 1 inch bit is, the 1 inch bit is $24. That's also the quick fit bit. Flips off and flips back down. And the guard is an extra 17. So to convert this one from a 3/4 inch to a 1 inch would run you about $42. However, I don't really think you need that. The 3/4 inch bit is going to do just about everything you need it to ever do. So if you're going to spend some money, I would buy the Lumi Shield. That was my first go. Or this, because I really like this. Is a wonderful feature. As you can see, oh, you don't see it because they don't have it on here, but this also comes with one of these guards as well. So this comes with everything for $4.25. Whereas this one you do have to add pieces to it. But as a starter machine, with this guard, at $169 is about the cheapest grinder you can buy anywhere. In fact, I think it is the least expensive right now, right? Yep. So that's the grinder and the grinder 2. As you can see, I'm actually in love with this thing. I got to test it when it was still in its infancy, before it was even became a real machine, and I love it. So if you want to pick one up, they're right over there at Technoglass. It's not this one, but the next booth over.